Sports Talk. Let's go. Hey, what's up, everyone? It's me, your boy Ryan Flowers, aka Clutch Sports Talk in the house. Happy Monday to you guys, man. It's another edition of Clutch Sports Talk Live, man. We got lots to talk about. As usual, we're gonna get it on and popping tonight, man. As you can see, I got all the categories that we're gonna be talking about tonight. So hey, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Welcome in. Good evening to you and everyone out there watching and following me right now, man. Hey, if you're in the room right now and you're watching live, make sure you drop a comment. Tell me what's up. How you guys doing? We got lots to talk about as usual. It's NFL packed. What else is there to talk about? Yeah, there's other stuff going on in the sports world, but right now the NFL is king. We got the Monday Night Football game we're going to be breaking down later on between the Philadelphia Eagles and my Dallas Cowboys, man. So that's going to be a big one. I want to talk about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Chiefs. We all were at the beginning of the season like, hey, Chiefs, Bucks, we're going to do it all over again. But hey, not so fast, as Lee Corso would say. Also, I got to give some love to the Las Vegas Raiders, man. They pulled off another great win yesterday afternoon here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium down the street from where I live. So got to show them some love a little bit, even though I'm not a fan of them, but I got to show them some love. You know what I'm saying? So also I want to talk about my pretenders and contenders list. There's some teams that are 3-0. And teams that are 2-1 that I feel that maybe people might be overlooking, and on the other hand, people might be saying, this team is legit and they got to go to the Super Bowl. So I'll give you that as well. And also I want to break down the Eagles and Cowboys Monday night game. And finally, to wrap up the show tonight, my buy or sell, mixing it up a little bit with college football and NFL. Going to give you some teams and some players and some situations you want to watch, maybe buy some stock and sell some stock on. And of course, I got to bring back clutch or not so much segment at the end of the show. And shout out to my boy David Herrera. He did call the Green Bay Packers to win. He said by 10, but they ended up winning by what, 2 or 1. So they did get the win. So appreciate you, man, for coming back on here. I gave you your flowers, but I know you was sweating. I know you was sweating when the Niners went up, man. But the Niners left too much time on the clock for that bad man, Aaron Rodgers, to come back and steal the victory from the San Francisco 49ers. So, but shout out to my boy David Herrera, man, for coming back on the show and calling the Packers win last night. So appreciate you, boss, man. All right. So, that's a lot, man. That's a lot to get into. And, before I get any further, make sure if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, man, do so now or forever hold your peace. No, I'm just kidding. Do so, man. After the show, hit that notifications link. It lets you know when anything I do goes live or anything that I post, anything like that, man. You don't want to miss out, man. So, but I'm so excited. It's Monday. Got lots to talk to you guys about tonight. So let's just start. First things first. Tampa Bay, Kansas City, they both took it on the chin last night. Yesterday, they both lost to some good teams, right? The Chiefs lost at home to the LA Chargers in a stellar performance put on by the Chargers and young Justin Herbert. That was a good game. And I respect the hell out of the Chargers. Okay. And then, Tampa Bay comes to LA, they take it on the chin. They lose to the Rams, who are looking like a juggernaut. I mean, flat out, just looking like they're ready to win the Super Bowl today. And that Matthew Stafford is paying off immediately. Big ends right now. And my boy David Herrera, A-Rod is a bad man. Yep, shut your mouth. I'm only talking about Aaron Rodgers. Can you dig it? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So yeah, anyway, back to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, and Chiefs. It's still early, right? It's still early in the season, and we got a lot of more games to be played, right? But just from what I've seen, there are some glaring deficiencies for both the Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In order for these two to meet up in the Super Bowl again, things are going to have to be addressed, okay? Let's start with the Chiefs, right? Out of the AFC West. So they lost their last two in kind of heartbreaking fashion. They lose to Sunday Night Football to the Ravens after being up, I think, like 11 points with like just under 2 minutes left. And then you lose at home, yesterday to the Chargers. So the problem is not the offense. They can score points, right? The problem is that they've become too dependent on Patrick Mahomes. I mean, and I get it, right? And my dog is trying to do something crazy over here. I don't know what he's doing, but anyway, there he is. He's out of here. Sorry about that. They've become too dependent on Patrick Mahomes, which, okay, I get it, right? I mean, I understand he's the best quarterback, if not the greatest, one of the greatest quarterbacks we've seen in quite some time. So yes, you want to put a lot of the pressure on him, but your defense has to stop people, man. And yes, we're not, it's not hitting the alarm. It's just pointing out the obvious, right? Their defense has not stopped anyone. When they need to get stops, they can't do it, right? Yesterday, they gave up some penalties that allowed the Chargers to kind of continue their drives. Um, you know, they spotted them 14 points early in the game. And it's hard to play that kind of game where you're always playing catch up. It always comes back to bite you in the ass. It just always does. In any sport, you cannot spot people points, especially professionals, and expect to win all the games. Now, it worked out for them that Super Bowl year that they won it, but look, you can't continue to feed off of that, and that's what they've been doing, right? Honestly, I had a take on one of my other friends' show earlier this afternoon. Honestly, I think the Chiefs, without Patrick Mahomes, they're not even a playoff team anymore, to be honest with you, because he's so magical. And the thing about it, it's like a catch-22 because he is so good. Sometimes we forget the bad that he does. And the last two losses, the last 2 weeks, he has had some very questionable plays that have led to turnovers in which the other team has taken the ball and they scored points on it, and then eventually they lose the game. I'm not saying it's Patrick Mahomes is terrible. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that sometimes I think we get so caught up in all the glitz and the awe and Patrick Mahomes, the hair, the no look passes. He's throwing it to Tyreek Evans on an 80-yard bomb. Like you gotta point it out. Some of his deficiencies lately is that he has not been able to protect the ball as good as he was in previous seasons before. And it's still early. I understand that. But in order for the Chiefs to get back to the AFC Championship game, because we've seen teams run the ball on them, right? The last 3 weeks, and granted, you're playing teams that can run the football in the Browns and the Baltimore Ravens, but these teams are running all over them. Their defense is not getting really big stops. Their secondary still isn't that great. And I get it. You got Hall of Famers and Tyrann Mathieu over there on the back end, but he's not a corner, right? I think they're good at safety, right? Obviously with Mathieu, but their corners are not the best. Their pass rush is not as good as it once was before. And, they're missing Frank Clark yesterday, but still, their defense is going to have to tighten up just a tad bit in order for them to get back to the Super Bowl. But people still feel confident in Tampa Bay as well. My boy David Herrera says, I'm more confident in Tampa Bay making it back to the Super Bowl than Kansas City. You know what? I can see that, but I don't want to count Tom Brady out, and that's a good point, a good segue. Let's talk about the Tampa Bay Bucks. So they lose yesterday. Wasn't a great day in the office for them. Their offense really wasn't clicking as well as it should have been. They still put up like 20-something points, which is that's still pretty good in National Football League. If you're putting up over 25 points in a game, your offense is doing something. But in order to keep pace with a team like the Rams, you got to score 30, right? And that they weren't able to do that. Again, just like the Chiefs, their defense is not as strong as it once was. Now, was it a juggernaut all last year? No, it wasn't, right? Their rush defense is still superb, still top 5 in the NFL, but that's fine. No one cares. They're just slinging the ball. We've seen now they've given up over 20-something points, at least in the first 3 games of the season, to the Cowboys, to the lowly Falcons, and then yesterday to the LA Rams. Why is this happening? Well, the secondary is in shambles. They're missing Jamel Dean. They've got some other injuries that, they need to address. Now, their thoughts about, well, maybe they should go out and get Richard Sherman. I don't know if he's the answer. He's a little long in the tooth. Could he help? Maybe. I don't know, man. I think they just need to get after the quarterback at this point. I think when you don't have a great secondary, you got to be able to rush the quarterback, period. Because I think with a healthy pass rush, you're able to kind of mitigate your deficiencies or problems on the back end, at least in the secondary. And they haven't really done a great job, at least in the last couple of games that I've seen. They're not getting a lot from Sue. They're getting a lot from them in the run game, like Vita Vea, Sue, those guys. They're playing the run game a lot. They're like as they should, right? But in the passing game, they're missing guys like JPP. They're not getting after the quarterback. So, like David Herrera said, he does feel more confident in Tampa Bay. But I will say Tampa Bay has a little bit more difficulties getting back because I think there are a lot more teams in the NFC that are contenders, which I'll talk about later on in the show on my pretender or contender list. So you want to stay tuned for that. But at the end of the day, is it a 4-alarm fire for both the Kansas City Chiefs and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? No, it's not. You still have Patrick Mahomes, a great quarterback, awesome quarterback. You still got the GOAT, Tom Brady, back there slinging it, doing his thing. They still, and think about it, Tampa Bay was missing Antonio Brown. Gronk was hurt a little bit. And honestly, look, Mike Evans was basically shut down by Jalen Ramsey, which most receivers get shut down by him. So other than that, I mean, they still put up 20-something points in that game. But the Rams, to me, made a statement. That was probably the biggest game in LA, as far as a football game is concerned, in quite some time. I mean, and I'm from LA. I'm from LA, born and raised in LA, La Brea Pico, area. But that's probably one of the biggest football games being played yesterday in SoFi Stadium. And they came out and did their thing, and it looks like that trade is paying off for the Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff. So, but again, for you Tampa Bay and Chiefs fans, I'm not bashing you. I'm just saying I think a lot of us, including myself, I'll put myself in a boat. We were just so quick to say, you know what, Tampa Bay Chiefs. And, honestly, when you think about it, how often does that happen? It really doesn't happen that often where teams kind of play each other again in the Super Bowl. But it's more of the easiest thing to say because we don't know all the other variables. And the NFL or any professional league, it's hard. It's hard making the playoffs. It's hard winning a division. It's hard just doing a lot of things. And I think we kind of all jumped the gun and said that, you know what, those teams are going to be back in the Super Bowl just like that. And we just said to hell with all the other 30 teams in the NFL. It don't even matter. Just go straight to the Super Bowl. Don't even play the season. So that's just what I think about that. David Herrera asked me, which team's defense are you more confident, Tampa Bay or KC's? I am more confident in Tampa Bay's defense because I think they can sack the quarterback eventually. The Chiefs defense, to me, man, I mean, they both have the same problem, is their secondary. That's their problem, right? But the thing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their front line is a lot better than the Chiefs front line is. And I think when you get guys like JPP back, who was out yesterday, who's he's a notable pass rusher, that should kind of help you guys. But look, when they played the Cowboys, I don't think Dak was even sacked, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they had any real pressures on him. And so he was just able to sit back there and just boop, 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 boop. I mean, and I have to look back at the stats against Matt Ryan. I don't know if they had any sacks on him. And, they still were able to do something. So if I'm more concerned about the Chiefs defense because their defense has not ever been elite at any point in this Mahomes era. It hasn't, right? They've always been middle of the road. They've made stops when they need to make stops, but the last two games, they really haven't been able to do so. And that might be a trend moving on towards the later part of the season. So that's something that you want to keep your eye on, right? So just keep in mind that, and we'll see what happens. David Herrera says, hey, I want to see your pretenders and contenders list. I want to see who you got on that bad boy. Hey, well, stay tuned, man. It's going to come up here in just a couple minutes here. So stay tuned, man. Appreciate you in the comment section, man. Chatting it up, man. That's my boy, David Herrera. So let's move on, man. So for those of you who don't know, I do live in Las Vegas, Nevada. Without giving out all my information, I do live here in Sin City, right? And right down the road from me is the Raiders practice facility, and not too far is the Allegiant Stadium where, the Raiders partake in a game called football, right? So they're 3-0. And like their, former owner, Al Davis, he used to say, just win, baby. That's what they're doing here in Las Vegas. Now, I'm not a fan of the Raiders. Still, I'm not. I still have some things about them, which I'm going to get into it when my Pretender and Contender segment comes up here in the next segment. But I got to give them their flowers, right? They're 3-0, right? They've beaten two playoffs. Well, did the Dolphins make the playoffs? No, the Dolphins just missed the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken, right? So, but still, Dolphins are a playoff contending type team, right? So, you're 3-0. You're 3-0. You win your first game at Baltimore or against Baltimore. You go on the road in Pittsburgh, a game that you were underdogs in, and then a game yesterday, which they kind of got away with it, but they pulled it off. So a win is a win. I'm not going to go here and say, well, they only won by this and they were pushed to the brink. Look, when you look at the wins and column section, when you open up the newspaper or go on ESPN.com, it's wins, losses, ties, and doesn't say if you might have, should have lost. That's just what it is. So they're 3-0. Derek Carr, man, this guy's balling. I mean, a lot of Raider fans out there, they hate on this guy so much. I bet you they're not hating on him now. He has literally thrown over 1,000 yards already in 3 games. 3 games. And a crazy stat yesterday, he threw to 9 different receivers yesterday. 9. Just think about that. Some of you can't even name 9 receivers. Hell, some of you can't even name 3 targets on the Las Vegas Raiders. Yet alone, this guy threw to 9 different receivers yesterday. Derek Carr is a great quarterback, man. I think that he has never been the problem with the Raiders. It's been their defense. they've always shown a propensity to put the ball in the end zone. They can score points. It's their defense that sucks. And Gus Bradley has been brought in. It looks like they're starting to maybe turn the tide a little bit. It's still early on them, but I would say, yes, David. He threw to 9 different people yesterday, man. So that's a stat that I heard earlier today on TV, and I was like, what? That's crazy. But the Raiders' problem is not the defense. And for those of you who have never been to a Raiders game, from I have friends that are season tickets holders, they've told me the environment is just crazy. It's like a party in there. It's a party in there. And I'm kind of used to that because I'm a hockey fan. I love the Golden Knights. I've been to several of their games. That atmosphere is different than any other arena than I've been in. And I can assume it's the same type of party vibe when you go to a Raider game now. Because look, they were sectioned off in the Oakland Coliseum in that dungeon of a stadium, right? You could not believe a professional NFL team played there, right? Right? And they did. They played literally in an old cookie cutout dugout of a stadium in Oakland Coliseum. And no, I'm not talking bad about Oakland. It just is what it is. Now they've upgraded. They've come to Allegiant Stadium. The fan base was hungry out here. There've always been a lot of Raider fans here on the West Coast, period. It's a perfect place for them. They've done it right. They've done it right. Their practice facility is A1. I drive by it all the time. I've been in Allegiant Stadium a couple of occasions because I have UNLV college football tickets. So I go see them play. So I've been there. I went to SummerSlam a few weeks ago there. So I've been inside that arena. It's amazing. It's electric. Is it SoFi? No. Is it Dallas Cowboys Stadium? No. But it's better than what the Raiders had before when they were in Oakland. So, shout out to the Raiders. They're 3-0. I believe they got they should go. I forgot who they got next, but I think they should be 4-0. I think they got Pittsburgh. Oh, not Pittsburgh. I forgot who they got. I think they got somebody who's a cupcake and they should win. So, but again, I don't want to take too much because I'm about to get into this here right now. But look, shout out to the Raiders. They're 3-0. I know their fan base is happy. They needed it. They needed it because look, it wasn't looking good. It wasn't looking good. When I was not a fan of them bringing back John Gruden. I thought giving him a 10-year deal was just ridiculous. Now they're 3 years into this 10-year deal, so he's got 7 years left on his deal. They built around, they got Darren Waller, who's an excellent tight end, one of the top 3 tight ends in the National Football League. Look, they ran the ball pretty decently yesterday without Josh Jacobs. They had just picked up Peyton Barber, who was on free agency wire, who had recently played for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He ran the ball effectively. You got Kenyon Drake, so they were running back by committee yesterday. They drafted Brian Edwards. They had Henry Ruggs, who's kind of showing up now for them. Hunter Renfrow. So they have got Zay Jones. They have guys that they're throwing the ball to around there. And one thing I will say about their defense, which is noticeably better, is their pass rushing ability. Max Crosby's been able to do some things over there. So shout out to them. I won't say much more about that because it's going to make me sick talking about the Raiders so much, but it is what it is. So finally, all right. This is the segment I was kind of really wanted to really pinpoint it on, and that is the pretender or contender list. So let's start with the pretenders first, right? So even though I was just giving them mad love, the Las Vegas Raiders, they are still on my pretenders list. But I'll start with the Denver Broncos in the AFC West. Yes, they are 3-0. Yes, their defense is elite. But let's dial back a little bit. Who have they played? So they opened up with the Giants, right? Okay, they're 0-3 now. The next week they played the Jaguars. Well, guess what? They're 0-3 now. And then they played the Jets yesterday. Oh, big surprise. What are they? 0-3. So to me, I don't know. They're 3-0, but they're like a fake 3-0. They haven't played anybody yet, really, that can kind of challenge them. Now, I do like their roster. I think their defense is stupendous. The back end is crazy. Von Miller looks like he's back in shape now. I think Bradley Chubb did go down with the injury. I'm not sure the severity of that, but they could still get after the quarterback with Von Miller. Okay. They picked up guys in the secondary like Kyle Fuller from the Bears. They still got Justin Simmons back there. David, he says, are they pretenders? Yeah, they and I'll get to the Raiders. And I'll tell you why they're pretenders still, David, okay? Even though I gave them love. All right. But the Broncos, to me, they haven't played anybody yet. They still got to play teams in their division. You still got to play the Raiders twice. You still got to play the Chiefs twice. And you still got to play the Chargers twice. Okay. So, they haven't played anyone yet. All right. So moving aside, we got the Carolina Panthers. They're 3-0. And I get it. Well, how are they pretenders? They're 3-0. But look who have they played? They opened up with the Jets, again, 0-3. You beat the Saints, which are on this list as well. Even they're 2-1, but still, we don't expect the Saints to be the Saints, right? I mean, yeah, that win against the Packers was a little outlier, which I'll talk about there. And then who did they play yesterday? They played the Texans on was it Thursday night football, right? So to me, I like what they're doing. But Christian McCaffrey's out. He's going to miss some time. He's out with the hamstring. Okay, so that's a big part of their offense. And guess what? If the Dallas Cowboys take care of business tonight, as they should go 2-1 after tonight. Guess who the Carolina Panthers play next? The Dallas Cowboys in Dallas. As long as everyone comes out healthy, that should be a win for the Cowboys, right? So easily the Carolina Panthers can lose next week Sunday. Even if the Cowboys lose tonight, which that shouldn't happen, still, all right? Arizona Cardinals, another team that's 3-0. You're like, well, Ryan, how are they pretenders? Once you see the contenders list, you'll be like, oh yeah, I can see that. I trust me, I love the Cardinals, man. If they were a little bit closer, I mean, Phoenix is about 4.5 hours from where I live. I would get season tickets for them. Yeah, even as a Cowboys fan, I love watching Kyler Murray. I've loved watching Kyler Murray play since when he was in college. Right, he's electrifying. I like what they do on offense with him. Their defense is gotten better, right? But they still scare me. Parts of that game yesterday against the Jacksonville Jaguars, it had me nervous because I'm thinking I picked them to win. It was a lock pick for me, and then they're struggling with the Jaguars. And, they ended up pulling away in the end, but still, it's stuff like that still kind of has me like, they're nice, they're fun, but I think they might screw me over in the end, right? Now the Raiders, David. Here's the reason why I think they're pretenders, because I think at the end of the day, their defense is still not good enough, right? There's gonna be a time where they're gonna have to make a stop and they can't get it done, especially when you play another capable offensive team. You look at who they played in the first 3 games of the week. Baltimore, okay, they're primarily Lamar Jackson based heavy. I mean, that's it, right? Pittsburgh, we can probably team up and score together against the Pittsburgh Steelers, or score better than the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Dolphins don't even really have a starting quarterback. Jacoby Brissett in the second half started to kind of light them up. And the Raiders defense almost gave away that game. If you think about it, I believe it was like a 4th and 20. You get to stop, the game's over, right? In regulation, they give up a 4th and 20 play to extend the drive for the Dolphins, and it leads to a field goal. And to me, as if you want to be a contender, your defense has to make contending type stops. And to me, the Raiders, even though they get after the quarterback better, I still think their secondary is having some growing pains, and it might change. It's only been week 3, right? So this list will change from week to week. But as of right now, this is why I think that they're not actual contenders yet. I love Derek Carr. I still love their offense. I like what they're doing, but that defense, again, still scares me. And then the 49ers, and people are like, well, you're probably thinking, well, why are the 49ers on there? They're one of the top teams. Here's the thing, man. Jimmy Garoppolo is a problem. Now, he almost led them to that win last night. It was a great drive that he had to get that go-ahead touchdown. But there's still something about him. It's kind of like when you're eating some, I don't know if you guys are into, it's getting colder now, it's fall. You ever had like a stew or a soup, and you eat it and it's like, it's good. It fills me up, but it's missing something. So you go into your spice cabinet and you're looking for something, and you add it in, and you're like, oh, that's what it is. And that's what the 49ers are. They're like a good stew or soup, but it needs something. Maybe it needs some green onions, or maybe some black pepper, or some other type of seasoning. It'll get the job done, but I don't think that they're I don't think he can take them the rest of the way. Excuse me, I said the rest of the way. They're a good team. Their defense gave them some points last night. They gave up a lot of points, and which in this era in the NFL or in football in general, people are going to score on you. It's not that you're not going to have the 85 Bears where they're not only giving up like 2 points a game. That's not it. But it's something about them to me. I just don't. It doesn't resonate with me, and that's why. And then finally, our last pretender is the New Orleans Saints. They're 2-1. I mean, they beat the Packers, and not only did they beat the Packers, they beat the cheese out the Packers. They get a win against a rookie quarterback yesterday in Mac Jones, which, he basically gave them the game, So, that was a game they probably should have won. But I will give them props because, listen, they've been displaced for like almost a month and a half because of Hurricane Ida. And the fact of the matter, they're still playing at a high level. They're trying their best. I'll give them credit, but still, I think as the season goes along, we'll see that they are really not what that record is showing right now. And if they do, then that's great. That's great for that city. That's great for that franchise. But I still just don't see it. So all right, contenders, yeah, a bunch of them, 9 of them, I think, right? And a lot of you gonna be like, oh, you got the Cowboys in there because you're biased and you're a Cowboys fan. No, but I'll get to them here. But Sarah, anyway, we'll start with the Rams. Great win last night, 3-0. You beat the defending Super Bowl champs. Now, that defense looks good. That offense looks it's humming. Deshaun Jackson looked like he was a rookie coming out of, Cal, right? That guy's old, man, and he's older, but he's still got some burst, man. So good for him. What else can I say? You got a great coach, you got a great organization, you got a great stadium. That place, they're hungry. They're hungry, right? Okay. So right now, they're, if not the one of the top teams in the NFL. Okay. Then you got the Cleveland Browns, right? I'll leave the Cowboys for last. Cleveland Browns, they run the football. Baker is just being Baker. Yeah, I mean, he's proven that he's a franchise quarterback. He's not a backup, so he'll probably get paid. Their defense is still elite. Myles Garrett still gets after the quarterback better than anybody else in the National Football League. And I like their division. I like that they're going to win that division outright, I think. And then staying in that division, the Baltimore Ravens, just 2 words, Lamar Jackson, and that's it. He's going to keep them afloat. He goes down, they're screwed. He's screwed. They're screwed because they can't. The way that system works is they're not good enough without him, and they're like a fringe contender. I put him in here because of Lamar Jackson only. And I'm not a big fan of Lamar Jackson. I think he's, at the end of the day, he's still limited. A lot of people are in love with this guy. And, granted, he's won a lot of games in the National Football League. I will say that over 80%, if I'm not mistaken. I want to see him take the next level. I want to see him start winning in the playoffs. That's when I'll start to give him his just due respect. Phenomenal player. But if he goes down out of, other than the 2 teams that I just mentioned before, the Rams and the Browns can still function because they run the football more often than not. The Rams can still function. Why? Because they have other good pieces on their roster. Their defense is still good. They can still do what they need to do. Will it be as good as Matthew said? No, but they can still function. The Ravens, if Lamar Jackson gets hurt, they're done. They're screwed. They're done, right? All right. Green Bay Packers, again, just like the Baltimore Ravens. Aaron Rodgers is only the real reason. Their defense is good. I will say that. They got some good young corners that can cover. But again, he's their driving catalyst. And if he goes down, they're done too. I mean, because that roster, who's going to throw the ball to Devontae Adams? Nobody, right? All right. And the Chargers, Justin Herbert, they showed a lot of grit yesterday, man. I really enjoyed watching them play yesterday. They're becoming like another team I like watching because I love the way their coach went after it. Most teams would have settled for a field goal to go ahead late in that game, but he was like, nah, man. How many times have we seen teams settle, kick the field goal, and then literally the next drive that other team kicks the field goal to win the game because they're only up by 2 or 1. So they were like, you know what? We're going for the gusto. We're going to get the touchdown. We're going to make sure if they're going to beat us, they're going to have to drive 80 yards down the field to do so. And that's what ended up happening. Because if they didn't score that touchdown, they only got kicked the field goal, the Chiefs probably would have ended up kicking a field goal with Butker and tying that game up. And who knows what happens in overtime, right? So I do like the Chargers. The thing that scares me about them still too is injuries. Derwin James missed a little bit of time yesterday in that game. Nick Bosa had a little ankle issue. So their defense, it kind of does worry me because they have some injuries on that side of the ball that can be proven very significant. And David Herrera says, Baltimore could easily be 1-3. Pretenders list for me. Where are the Bengals, Joe B? I was thinking about them. They just kind of missed my list. I got to see a little bit more from them. Just a little bit more. But they scare me too because they're one hit away. They don't really protect the quarterback that well. But the Bengals are rising and they're looking to be better than what most people thought. Because right now the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to be finishing last in that division. So maybe next week if I do this list, maybe the Bengals will get on there. But yeah, you know what? That's a good point, Dave. Thanks for bringing that up. Appreciate you. And Tampa Bay, obviously, they're contenders, and we don't need to say much about them, why they're contenders. That's obvious. The Kansas City Chiefs, again, they're contenders. The Bills, they're contenders. I mean, look, the Bills are the Bills. Now, do they have enough firepower in the end to beat a Kansas City? I don't know. That's the only drawback with them is that, yes, they're a solid team, but do they have enough firepower? Because their offense, to me, is not as explosive as it is like the Chiefs or like a lot of these other contending teams, like the Rams, even Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, and even the Chargers. Like, I like Josh Allen, but I don't know if their offense is vertical enough for me. And what I mean by vertical enough, I'm talking about you got to score, and like I'm talking about in bunches, and I don't think they can do that. So, and then finally, my Dallas Cowboys, I left them last. Why are they on this list? Even though they're 1-1, for the simple fact is that, like all these other top teams that are in here, they have a really, really great offense. They have a lot of weapons, man. And you've seen them win. Honestly, they should have won the game against Tampa Bay. They should be easily 2-0. If it wasn't for Greg Zuerlein, they should be 2-0 at this point, but they didn't. But look, you saw how many fits they gave Tampa Bay, right? Now, their problem is the red zone. Now, they can't score in the red zone. I don't know if that's play calling or not taking care of business the way they need to, but they have so many ways they can hit you. And now that Tony Pollard has emerged, I've always been a Tony Pollard fan from when he was back in Memphis. When we drafted him, I said, look, if they use this guy right, man, he is the ultimate Swiss Army knife. He can catch, he can run. He's got a little bit more burst than Zeke right now. Zeke is still good. And now we have a problem where you got two running backs. I don't have a problem with Zeke running the ball up the middle because he's a bigger back. He can take the pounding. And then, you give Tony Pollard the ball outside, boom, he's gone. You got CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup is hurt. You still got Amari Cooper. Our tight ends really don't get a lot of love, but they're decent in Blake Jarwin and Dalton Schultz. So, and the offensive line is starting to come around again. Hopefully Tyron Smith stays healthy. Zach Martin comes back, and hopefully Lyle Collins will stop trying to bribe people from taking drug tests, and he'll get back on the field soon. So, and the defense is actually a lot better than expected, man. Is that reported? Cooper's out for tonight. I ain't got that. I haven't heard that yet. But if that's the case, then even so, they still have enough to beat the Eagles tonight. But the Cowboys, to me, are up. If that defense keeps improving, look out, NFC. Even the Rams, because the Cowboys have just enough firepower to keep up with the Rams. They do. So we'll see. We'll have to wait and see. But that's my contenders list, man. We can chop it up. Let me know what you think in the comment section, man. But that's what it is. And maybe I'll do it next week, or maybe I'll wait through another 2 or 3 weeks and see what happens. But all right. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack right there. When you're talking like this. For those of you who, doing a show or even a podcast, man, it's hold on a second. It's a lot of work. And it's tough. It's not as easy as maybe some people think. So I appreciate anyone that's doing it. Shout out to you, and anyone that's listening, man. I appreciate that too. So, because it's a big undertaking for me to do all this. It seems like maybe some of you think I just pop up and just do it. No, it's a lot of preparation. But all right. Anyway, we are just about under an hour between the Eagles and the Cowboys kicking off in Bank of America Stadium in Fort Worth, Texas. Home with the Dallas Cowboys, man. This is a big Monday night game. Cowboys they're our favorite, and they should win this game. Eagles are missing some guys, right? Now they got to win. They lost last week to the San Francisco 49ers. So I believe they're 1-1 because they beat the Falcons week 1, which, a lot of people are trying to beat the Falcons, which is pretty easy to do, even though the Falcons got their first win. This is the game that the Cowboys need to make a statement. If the Cowboys want to stay in the contending column in my segment, they got to come out and they got to beat the brakes off these guys. It can't be you win by 3 or a last-minute field goal. If you want to be that team, you got to beat teams you're supposed to beat, right? And this is a team they should beat, right? Jalen Hurts, he's solid, but is he, a great quarterback? Not really. He only throws right. He looks one way. He's a one-read type quarterback. Their defense is, Fletcher Cox is probably their best defensive player. Other than that, they don't really have other guys that I'm really that afraid of. Maybe offensively, Devontae Smith, the rookie, Jalen Reagor. They got those guys they're speedsters. They're not guys that are going to eat you up under, in the slot, things of that nature, which, Smith can play in the slot, but I think our defense is good enough to get out there. Now, we are missing some guys on the defensive line. We are missing some guys. D-Law is out. I think Randy Gregory comes back tonight. We're missing Neville Gallimore, our defensive tackle. So we are missing some guys on the defense. And if Amari Cooper's out, from what David Herrera is saying, we're down one receiver. But you still got CeeDee Lamb, right? You still got CeeDee Lamb, and you still got Tony Pollard. You still got a potent enough offense, and I trust Dak. And Dak is like a Derek Carr. He also spreads the ball around too. He's not just limiting himself to one guy. He does move the ball around efficiently. And I think tonight, this should be an easy win. It should be a comfortable win for the Dallas Cowboys. And I know it's a divisional game, and I get it. But it's gonna that stadium's gonna be jumping tonight. It's the home opener because the Cowboys have been on the road the first two games. You know, oh no, you know what? He is gonna play. I haven't heard anything. I know he had the bruise or fracture, something with his ribs, but I haven't seen anything that said that he's not playing tonight. So he is a go. Amari Cooper is a go for tonight. But what I was saying about the Cowboys, look, if they want to be on that list, stay on that list, you got to beat the Eagles. And it's a divisional game. And I know divisional games are tough because these teams know each other very well. But this is Dak's first home game since that, gruesome injury he had, I believe, in week 5 or week 6 against the Giants. So I know he's excited to get back, and my dog is doing some weird stretch here. But anyway, look, they got to take care of business, man. There's no ifs, ands, and buts about that. They got to come and take care of business. So I like the Cowboys to win. I think they cover. I think I had the line at -4. I think they win by at least six points. So let's just say a touchdown at least. And I think they get some turnovers, and I think they get rolling. I think Zeke rushes for 100 yards tonight. That's my prediction in that game tonight. I think he rushes for 100 yards tonight, and the Cowboys win big in Dallas on Monday Night Football. All right, we're almost done here. Before we get out of here, I want to do my buy or sell segment, man. I'm introducing this every week now. I hope you guys enjoy it. And like I said, let me know what you guys think. If you think something happened over the weekend prior to my show, let me know on Sunday, and let me know, like, hey, man, you might want to buy some stock in this, or you might want to sell some stock. The same thing goes with the clutch or not so much segment as well, man. Let me know. Maybe I need to put something out on social media and let you guys know how you can get a hold of me, because I don't catch everything, and there's some things that maybe that I miss. So, but anyway, my first buy, the LA Rams. You got to buy some stock, man. If you're in the stock market right now, you got to buy some shares. The rule of thumb is you always want to buy 100 shares of some stock, and you better, this team right now, I wouldn't say it's low. It's going to cost you, but you need to get in. You need to get in right now on the LA Rams. I've talked about them all night. Not much more that me can be said. So I do like them. But rookie quarterbacks this year, you got to sell. I've always been a fan of starting guys, which, it's tough. It's tough. These guys are in some difficult situations, and they have to prove themselves, and it's hard because you're on bad teams. You saw what happened to Justin Fields yesterday. He's sacked 9 times. 9 times. I think out of all these quarterbacks, I think the Patriots are the Mac Jones is the only winning quarterback, right? Jags are 0-3, Jets are 0-3. Mac Jones is 1-2, if I'm not mistaken. And the Bears with Justin Fields, it was his first start yesterday. So right now, I have to sell on these guys right now, even though this is still a good quarterback class, and the verdict isn't out yet. It just sucks that they're on bad teams. They're on bad teams. So I'm going to sell my stock a little bit on some of these guys until I can see some more improvement. Honestly, we may not see it. I think out of all of them right now, Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, they're on the worst teams. So I don't know how they're going to turn that around. Mac Jones and Justin Fields, at least their teams have some talent. The Patriots have at least a good coach and some talent, but he's limited because, this is in Alabama. You're not playing Tennessee or Vanderbilt every week, right? Or Georgia State, No disrespect for anybody that is an alum from schools, but still, it's Alabama. Like, okay. Justin Fields, same thing. You're not in Ohio State. You're not playing Youngstown State. You're playing big boys. And obviously his offensive line sucks. And I don't think the coaches set him up. I think he should have been named the starter from the jump. And he should have gotten the full playbook, because you start him this week. It really wasn't fair, because he's not going to get the full playbook. So he's not going to have everything at his disposal. And that explains why he only threw for like 48 yards. So yeah, that's terrible. And I think Matt Nagy's out of there. He's got to get out of there. A little college football, man. I'm buying stock in Notre Dame. I respect this program. Brian Kelly has been there like 12 years. He just won his 300th game in Notre Dame, and he'll be the first to tell you, like, it doesn't mean anything because he's won 300 games, but he hasn't won a national championship at Notre Dame, which, it sucks because you're in the era with Alabama. But honestly, if you take Alabama out of the equation right now in the national scheme of things, who can Notre Dame not play? They can play everybody. They can compete with anybody. Alabama's on this whole different level. You're seeing teams like Clemson. Clemson just lost to NC State. You know, maybe Georgia might be a good team. I don't know. But Notre Dame, and not only is this a difficult job, I don't know if you guys know this. Schools like Notre Dame, the military academies, Stanford, they have a very LSU. Sorry, bro, they lost to UCLA, who then lost to Fresno State. So can't put LSU up there. Sorry, but Notre Dame, their academic standard is ridiculous, even for athletes. So for those who've never played collegiate sports, it's tough being a collegiate athlete as it is, going to classes and trying to perform at a high level. And at Notre Dame, man, they're still getting top recruits, and those recruits are not dummies. These guys are starting to be aeronautical engineers, surgeons, they're scholars. I mean, so the fact of the matter is that it's not Alabama academic standard. I mean, Alabama's probably like, hey, can you do you know your vowels? All right, you're good, you're accepted, right? That's it probably for Alabama, because Alabama's a football school. We all know that. It's football, and that's it, right? But the fact that he's been there 12 years, he hasn't won a national championship. It might come, man. Who knows? Maybe he gets lucky in Alabama, something happens to them, and he can fit right in there. But he's a good coach. Brian Kelly's a hell of a coach, and I hope he does get a national championship. Even though I'm a USC fan and I don't want to see that, but I got to give him his respect, and I would like to buy stock in Notre Dame. And sticking with that college trend here, Spencer Rattler, we got to sell stock on him, man. He went to Oklahoma because I don't know if you guys ever watched this documentary. I believe it's on Netflix, called QB1. So it's a good documentary. I believe they have 3 seasons of it. He was on the final season, where it's basically a show where they follow like the top quarterbacks for that high school year, as they go through high school, through their seasons and whatnot. He is from Arizona, from Pinnacle High School, and I believe in Chandler or Hamilton, Arizona, one of those areas in Arizona, in like the Phoenix area, right? I thought he was a prick. I thought he was a young, cocky guy. I don't have a problem with guys being cocky, right? But the way he talked to some of his teammates, some of his friends, I don't think a lot of people really wanted to be his friend, but he was a cool guy. He was the guy. Now, he didn't finish out his senior year because of something happened, and he got basically kicked out off the team or kicked out of the school. It was never disclosed what he did. I don't know, but he goes to Oklahoma. He's supposed to be the next Kyler Murray, Baker Mayfield Heisman hopeful. Now in his sophomore year. He started rough last year. He lost to Kansas State out the gate. He picked it up towards the end of the year. Now you go into this year, it's kind of like he gets booed by his own fans, because guess what? Oklahoma still recruited a top quarterback last year to come to their school, and so the fans are chanting for him. Now, he's projected to be one of the top quarterbacks coming into the NFL draft. I don't see it. I don't know, man. He has a problem with ball security. He still turns the ball over quite a lot, and you're playing at Oklahoma where they get the best of everything. I'm not sure what's going to happen if he does get. I think he will get drafted based off of talent alone, and potential. But I don't know, man. I would have to sell my stock on him. I don't think it's going to work out for him. I don't think he has the work ethic. Like I said, watch that QB1 season 3 and hit me up and be like, yeah, man, I see what you're talking about. It's something about him. I don't know if he has, and he could be a great guy. I don't know. But based on what I saw, I didn't like it. And to me, body language is everything. So I don't know. So I have to sell stock on Spencer Rattler. So who knows? All right. All right, man. So we're almost out of here. We're gonna go into the clutch, or not so much. Honestly, man, I only had one not so much today, because I was trying to really rack my brain. But you know what? Let's just get into it. First of all, I want to start with Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay Packers. Very clutch last night. 37 seconds, no timeouts. You need a field goal. You set your team up. Boom, you win the game on the road. Shout out to them. That was a very, very, very clutch moment for Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Not so clutch, Patrick Mahomes. Yeah, he's on the list. Why? Because he throws an interception that ends up leading to the game-winning touchdown for the LA Chargers. So he's gonna, and that's 2 weeks back to back. I didn't put him on last week, but I'm putting him on this week. So I don't think he'll be on there next week. I think he'll get it, and he'll be like, I don't want to be on that show anymore. So just kidding out there. Clutch, LA Chargers and Justin Herbert, man, it showed balls. 4th and 4, you can easily kick the field goal, but they didn't have faith in their field goal kicker at the time, Vincenzo, whatever his name was, and they end up They end up going for it. They get a pass interference, and they ended up, they scoring a touchdown. And so big balls, because I think most teams would have probably just kicked the field goal, but they went for it and it worked out for them. And sometimes you got to do that. And David Herrera, he said P. Holmes not so clutch. Yeah, he wasn't in that moment yesterday. That's not a clutch moment. It's not. I'm not saying he's not clutch overall, because he is clutch, but yesterday he was not clutch. So that's why he's on the list for today. And finally, my last clutch moment, I could not be remiss. Justin Tucker, 68-yard field goal, bro. That's crazy, man. So shout out to him. That was a clutch moment. Baltimore Ravens, clutch moment for them, beating the Detroit Lions on the road. So shout out to them, man. But that's it. That's all I got, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed the episode tonight, man. Make sure hit me up on YouTube, man. Subscribe, man. Share, like, and follow, and comment, and keep watching me, man. I'm trying to keep this thing growing. As you can see, I'm always trying to do different things. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Shout out to everybody that watched, reviewed, and liked. I appreciate it. My man, David Herrera, man. Good seeing you, man. Hope you're doing all right wherever you're at in the world. But hey, Cowboys, let's go, man. We're going to beat those Eagles tonight. So that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed the rest, man. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Make sure you guys catch me Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as I do my NFL Sunday morning, and also immediately after the final game of the afternoon leading up to the Sunday night game where I do my NFL primetime. That's always fun, always enjoyable. So make sure you guys do those right here on YouTube and Facebook Live. So that's all I got. This is Clutch Sports Talk Live with me, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. Let's go. Go Cowboys!